The lights burned bright, and the stage was set for what should have been a routine late-night interview. Johnny Depp stepped onto the stage with a slow, deliberate stride, his signature hat pulled low, his jewelry clinking lightly as he moved. The crowd applauded, some standing, others leaning in with curiosity, sensing this might be more than just a plug for a movie. Colbert greeted him with the usual smirk and line, "Captain Jack, back on dry land, I see." Depp gave a nod, his grin tight, his eyes scanning the audience. He sat down, leaned back slightly in his chair, and replied with a dry, "Only for a moment." From the first words, something was off. Colbert sensed it too, shifting in his seat, trying to match Depp's reserved tone. The audience laughed nervously, unsure if they were watching banter or brewing tension. Colbert started with easy questions. Depp's latest film, the complexity of the character, his unique approach to acting. But it was clear Depp wasn't there to charm. His answers were short, layered with subtext. When Colbert asked if Depp saw himself in his character, Johnny replied, "I see pieces of me in all the people I've had to be on camera and off." The mood thickened. Colbert, always quick to dig a little deeper, followed with a pointed question. "Do you think the public knows the real Johnny Depp?" Depp smiled, without humor. "They know a version that sells papers," he said. The audience murmured. The space between them grew tense. Colbert tried to reset the tone with a joke, but Depp wasn't playing the part expected of him. It was clear that this wasn't just an interview. It was a confrontation. Trying to regain control. Colbert pivoted to what he called the headlines of the past decade, carefully phrasing his words to appear neutral. "You've had your battles, personal and public. Do you feel vindicated after everything?" Depp's eyes hardened. "I wasn't looking for vindication," he said. "I was looking for silence." That answer landed with weight. The crowd was quiet now. Colbert pressed on, referencing the trials, the online debates, the stories that flooded social media. But there were facts, testimonies, contradictions, he said, searching for clarity. Depp cut in, and truths ignored. "But that's showbiz, right?" His voice dripped with disdain. Colbert chuckled nervously, attempting levity. "Well, at least it gave us something to talk about." Depp didn't laugh. "That's not conversation, that's consumption." What was supposed to be a segment on artistry had turned into a battle of wills. Colbert, trying to steer the ship back on course, asked about Depp's creative process, how he approached such dark roles. Depp looked at him, expression unreadable.
"Ow."
"You dive into pain," he said, "stay there until you can't breathe. Then you resurface. But sometimes the air isn't any better than the water." The words hit like poetry, raw and real. The audience clapped slowly. Colbert nodded, attempting to mask his unease. "Deep," he said. "But don't you think audiences want to escape more than pain?" Depp leaned in. Maybe they should stop escaping and start listening. The silence that followed was thunderous. Then came the moment that would set the internet ablaze. Colbert, perhaps provoked, perhaps directed by producers, brought up the phrase "problematic icon." "You've been called many things," he said. "Is it fair to say the industry sees you differently now?" Depp straightened in his chair. "The industry never saw me clearly to begin with," he replied. "They saw profit. They saw image, not the man behind it." Colbert raised his eyebrows. "But isn't that the cost of fame?" Depp's voice dropped. "It costs other people their sleep. For me, it costs my peace." The audience stirred, unsure how to respond. Colbert, sensing he was losing the crowd, tried to ease things again. "Let's talk about your fans. Still loyal, still loud. What do you owe them?" Depp hesitated, then said, "I owe them honesty. Not performance, not apology tours, just the truth." That line sparked applause, strong and passionate. Colbert forced a smile. "So no regrets?" he asked. Depp tilted his head. "Plenty, but not for speaking out. Only for staying silent for too long." The applause grew louder. Colbert tried to move to a lighter topic, but Depp's tone made it clear. The tone had changed permanently. That's when the conversation turned. Depp looked directly at Colbert and said, "You know, this isn't a conversation, right? This is a chess match." Dressed up as Charm? Colbert blinked, unsure how to respond. I don't follow, he said. Depp gestured to the cameras, the crowd. This isn't about getting to know me. It's about framing me again. The crowd shifted, unsure if this was performance or revelation. Colbert raised his hands. I just ask questions. I don't write the narrative. Depp nodded slowly. No, but you help sell it. Asterisk, and then, without warning, Depp stood up. He removed the microphone clipped to his jacket, set it on the desk, and tipped his hat to the audience. Thanks for your time, he said. The studio froze. Colbert tried to stop him. Johnny, please, we're not finished. Depp paused. I am. With that, he walked off stage, past the cameras, and out of frame. Gasps rippled through the audience. Some stood. Others sat in stunned silence. Colbert remained seated, stunned, looked into the camera and said, Well, Johnny Depp, ladies and gentlemen. The moment had already escaped him. Asterisk, the show cut to commercial, but the damage or impact was done. By the time the broadcast ended, the footage was already circulating online. Twitter erupted. Depp walks out on Colbert. Devo or diva? Was this the real Johnny Depp? The reactions were polarized, fierce and fast. Some praised him for finally standing up to the media machine. Others called it a meltdown. But one thing was clear, everyone was talking about him again, but this time on his terms. Asterisk, Colbert's team issued a statement the next morning. We respect Mr. Depp's decision and thank him for appearing. Short, bland, corporate. Depp's team, in contrast, released a subtle but pointed message. Mr. Depp's time is valuable. He reserves the right to leave any situation where truth is overshadowed by spectacle. No apologies. No elaboration. Just a line drawn in the sand. It was a declaration not just of boundary, but of control. Asterisk, the media machine did what it always does. Think pieces flooded in. Body language experts dissected every blink, every breath. PR firms debated whether the move was genius or disastrous. But for once, Depp wasn't participating in the spin. He vanished. Canceled interviews, turned off notifications, disappeared into the quiet while the storm raged without him. Somehow that made the storm louder. Silence, in an age of overexposure, is the most shocking headline of all. Asterisk, for a week straight, his name trended. Late-night shows tried to make jokes about it, but the laughter felt forced. Viewers sensed something bigger had happened, something more human than headline. This wasn't a meltdown. It was a man saying no more. And in a culture that demands endless performance, that refusal echoed louder than any punchline. Asterisk, what made it unforgettable wasn't the drama, it was the authenticity. No PR-sentized sound bites, no brand-approved narrative. It's just a man refusing to play along. He walked off, not in shame, but in protest. Not in defeat, but in defiance. And for millions, watching it struck a nerve. Because deep down, everyone's had a moment where walking away was the most honest thing they could do. Asterisk, Depp, long known for vanishing into roles, had done something different. He had unmasked himself not with theatrics, but with silence. With refusal, with truth. For a moment, he stopped being a myth and became a man again. And whether people agreed or not, they couldn't look away. Asterisk, the world may never know the full story behind that night. But in an industry where image is everything, Johnny Depp reminded everyone that integrity is still priceless. The loudest statement isn't shouted, it's spoken with footsteps, fading as the stage lights dim. Asterisk.